Hi friends, today I'm back with the review of another new book. So this is the book, um, The Thief Princess Wife by Noor Juman. As you can see, it has a pretty cover and also an interesting title, and that's the reason why I was intrigued to pick this up. And you know what the blurb had to say. So this is the story of Payal Lohani. She's an Indian, but now settled with her family in America, specifically in New York. And then, so recently she had an attempt on her life. She just escaped, murder attempt. After that, she gets ready for marriage with a guy called, I hope I'm just spelling it right. Not too sure of that because it's supposedly a Ukrainian name. It's Oleksiy Karmesian. Um, yeah, so that is the guy with whom her marriage has been arranged by her parents. This is in a bid to save her life, and though she had always been like an independent woman and a strong person, but then after this murder attempt, she has agreed to this arranged marriage, especially for this person whom she didn't know at all. Now, what is interesting about her groom is that he is son of a man who ran the Ukrainian mafia. And so that is the reason that Payal's parents think that getting into a relationship with someone like this will help save her life. So that's how the story starts. The first few pages itself, Payal actually tries to meet up with Alexei. So anyhow, she knows that it's like an arranged marriage. It's more of a deal. Something she wants to benefit out of it is to for her to keep safe. But then, of course, like before the marriage actually happens, she just thinks of meeting up with him. But then the point is like her first impression, or what she thinks the guy would look like is like a very bulky Hulk sort of a man who has like multiple tattoos, and she just imagines that Ukrainian mafia son is also someone like that. Just what you would think immediately after listening to knowing about someone's profession. But then unfortunately, Alexei doesn't look like that. He's nowhere like what Payal imagines as a personality. Of course, he runs a fitness center and also a security group. Interesting part is Alexei himself is not really interested in what his father does, though his father is part of a mafia chain. His father runs a mafia chain. But then Alexei is like a child who never wanted to do anything with his family's business. He always wanted to break out of it. He wanted to have his own identity, his own profession, and just stay away from whatever is the profession that his father is into. And of course, his mother also supports his father, as in it's a little complicated piece. So when she hears, Payal hears that this guy has a fitness center, he runs a security group, and that's the impression she initially has. But then that person turns out to be complete opposite. He's just a very charming, handsome guy. But then Alexei already has a girlfriend called Alice, and he's very much interested in marrying her. But there is a catch. Alexei's parents, I mean his father, is having a very big debt. And so, why this marriage is being arranged from their side, from the groom side, is because Payal's father has offered huge amount of dowry. So they think that the groom's parents think that this is a good chance for them. to take this dowry in this arranged marriage deal, so that they will be able to save their business, or their life. Okay, so it's more like a business deal from both the sides. For Payal, it is like someone who will keep her safe, and for Alexei, it is like, of course, he is not interested. He wants to marry Alice, but he's sort of forced into it because his parents think this is a good chance for them to clear all the debts. So the first time when they meet in a bar, Payal doesn't know what to expect. As she expects, a bulky guy, she comes across, a normal charming guy. But then Alexei, he makes it very clear that he is interested in another lady. He loves her, and then he really wants to marry her, and he wants Payal to sort of reject this marriage proposal, which Payal cannot do, because this is her shot at saving herself. So she just looks at this as just a business deal, and she even tells her groom that it's okay if he is in love with someone, he can just continue the relationship, though they both will get married. So that is how Payal looks at this. It's more like of a transaction, because she has plans for higher education soon, so she'll be moving to a college on the other side of the country. So it's like, it's okay, fine, we'll get married, and then I'll move for my higher education, and you can go ahead with your lady love. That's what she tells Alexei. But of course, Alexei is not happy with this whole thing. He is not allowed to reject, though he conveys his whatever is his, that he is upset with his parents forcing him to get into that sort of a relationship. But then there is no looking back. His parents are very much convinced that he has to, get married to Payal. Yeah, so that is where the story starts. So now we are left with couple of things, how the story progresses. Payal thinks of that, like we can just behave like housemates, that he can still be in touch with Alice, and then keep having this relationship. But then of course that is not the case with Alexei. He doesn't want to get into this sort of relationship. He doesn't want to spoil Payal's life, or this whole setup. First impression itself, he thinks that Payal is a bit cunning, maybe a little more extra smart, so she will survive this their mafia ring. But then he's not someone who is interested in that kind of lady. Also because he always wanted to stay away from anything that had to do with his father and his parents, right? Yeah, so that is how the story begins. The reader will be intrigued to know what exactly happened, why Payal is being targeted by someone. Who is it that is targeting Payal, who is trying to kill Payal? What is the backstory of that? And why are her parents okay with her getting married to sort of a son, or someone from that sort of mafia family? That is something, once you start the story, the reader will be intrigued about that. We'll also be intrigued to know, like, what is Alexei's backstory, what happened, because the author keeps throwing in, some flashes of something that happened during his childhood, which also influenced him to sort of hate his family business and his father. So we'll also be interested to know what really happened in his childhood, what caused him to come to this sort of a conclusion. And also we'll want to know, how this relationship really progresses, because it obviously started as sort of a business deal, but then will they be able to continue like this? Will this just be, marriage of convenience? Because Alexei's mother says that even if you have any differences with your wife, when you come in, when you are around people, in the society, you'll have to keep up appearances. So will they be able to do that, especially since Alexei is very mad at Payal that she didn't reject this marriage. She had the chance to reject it. So I think it's like, it will take some time for him to know that what is Payal's backstory, whom is she running away from. So this is all the story. There is also some story about some of the past of both the sides, okay, and how did they end up like this, what really happened, and also like what is going to happen next, who are Payal's enemies, who are Oleksky's enemies, and are there any common enemies, or did Payal unexpectedly get into fight, or sort of enmity with someone Oleksky knows. That's like the interesting part. Okay? So this is about the story. Of course, this is like any other love story we would have read, just the general tropes of forced proximity and then enemies to lovers, sort of. That's how it sounds at the beginning. What really makes it different is this whole mafia background. So it see the blurb and all, and some parts say it mafia, but I found it a little interesting, or to some extent amusing, that Olex's family says they are thieves. Okay, and that's what the title is also about, the thief princess wife. So of course, in a family of thief, Oleksky is the prince, and his wife. What happens in to her, or their life together, their story together. So I think for a general, a normal love story, which you would think like, so these two people could be from any other background, but an Indian American Payal, then with the Ukrainian guy, I think that is first, like, the interesting aspect. And next to know that, the guy is from a mafia background, which they keep referring to as thieves, is interesting. Then, also the profession that he chooses, this fitness center or the security arrangements, how he is trying to sort of, what sort of people he is trying to hire. That is also an interesting aspect, where he keeps having this conflict with his father. It's also interesting how, what is Payal's backstory and how is it related to, her husband and that overall story. And then what is the past story of both of them, and, how it came till here. I think that is the, USP, I'll say, of this. When you look at it, comparing with any other love story, probably the tropes and, the sort of characters, everything is similar. But then, the whole backdrop is what, makes this book interesting to read. So the one thing that I felt could have been better is the story actually takes some time to take off. The first even 50 pages or so, we just don't know much. It's all conversation between all the main characters, introducing the characters. So it takes some time. Also, the writing style is a little different. If you have been reading, like, Indian fiction and all, don't expect that sort of a writing. This book writing style is a little different. It's actually fresh, and I like that aspect. I also like the characterizations. Two individuals who are like, strong personalities and having their own dreams and their own life. When they are forced to have, a sort of a marriage, which is sort of a deal only, how they handle it, what really happens in their lives and in their family's life. I think you can look at it as like a love story at a high level, but then there are a lot of layers in it. It's also interesting how it progresses, and at some point we all expect, like, between two such contrasting personalities, how there will ever be, any feelings that will start between them. How are they going to start liking each other just because they are married? Obviously not. But what really causes it? What are the circumstances that force them, or that drive them towards that? So yeah, those are all the aspects. So other than the initial, slow takeoff of the story, it's very interesting overall as a love story, or about knowing about the different backgrounds of the protagonists, or their backdrops, and coming from two different worlds, how they sort of adjust, and how people take decisions, especially like a person like Payal, who is an Indo-American, and then Oleski, who is like from a completely again different backdrop, when they are forced into something by their families, how they progress further, how they build their life together. It's interesting. Of course, it's like it's not really like your typical racy romances or love stories. So it's a little different. So if you're looking for something fresh and different way of narration of a love story with a different sort of backdrop, I would suggest definitely pick this. You'll not be disappointed. Overall, it's like a good read. It's almost 300 pages, and yeah, it's good. The character arcs and how the characters explore things as they progress, as the story progresses. It's all good. So yeah, I'll say pick it up if you are looking for something a little different than what we generally read. It has multiple layers and multiple themes other than just romance or a love story. So yeah, hopefully you'll also enjoy reading